Hi, I'm Dr. Eric Berg, and today we are going to talk about something a lot of people are confused about. Can you actually boost testosterone massively in just 24 hours? Many people feel tired, weak, bloated, unmotivated, losing muscle, gaining fat, and they think the answer is some magic pill or shortcut. But that's the real problem. Testosterone isn't just about one thing you take, it's about the entire internal environment of your body. If your hormones are off, your sleep is bad, your stress is high, or your diet is inflaming your system, nothing you try will work. So the question is, what actually can you do within 24 hours that starts shifting your body toward real, natural testosterone production, and what is truly effective, instead of hype? That's exactly what I'm going to break down for you today. The first thing we need to understand is this: testosterone isn't built overnight, but your body can rapidly change the factors that allow testosterone to rise. For example, stress hormones like cortisol can drop within hours. Inflammation markers can drop within hours. Blood sugar stability can improve within hours. All of these set the stage for your body to naturally increase testosterone production. So while you might not go from low levels to superhero levels in one day, you can create an internal shift that your body responds to immediately. And that's where things actually start working. Your body is designed to constantly measure your environment and adjust hormone levels accordingly. When you give it the signals of strength, recovery, safety, deep rest, and nutrient abundance, testosterone begins rising, sometimes even noticeably by the next day in terms of energy and mood. But if your body senses stress, inflammation, sleep deprivation, or nutrient deficiency, testosterone drops as a protective mechanism. So when people claim unbelievable boosts in 24 hours, they skipping a very important truth. What you rechanging within that day isn't the hormone level itself, it's the conditions that let the hormone rise. And one of the fastest and most powerful ways to create those conditions is by lowering stress hormones, especially cortisol. Cortisol and testosterone have an inverse relationship. When one goes up, the other goes down. That means stress reduction is one of the fastest acting testosterone boosters you'll ever find, far faster than supplements, far faster than heavy workouts, and far faster than trendy hacks. When your nervous system shifts out of fight or flight and into recovery, your body starts freeing up resources for hormone building, tissue repair, and muscle recovery. Within hours, your system becomes more anabolic rather than catabolic. But lowering stress is not just about relaxing, it's about removing the internal triggers that create hormonal noise. For example, high blood sugar spikes place tremendous stress on your body. And most people don't realize how much this affects testosterone. Eating something sugary or refined can cause insulin to spike, followed by a crash, followed by a stressed reaction raising cortisol, lowering testosterone. So one of the simplest things you can do in the first 24 hours is cut out sugar, refined carbs, and anything that hits your system too quickly. This immediately stabilizes your blood sugar, which in turn stabilizes cortisol, allowing your body to shift into hormone-building mode. Now, another extremely fast-acting factor is sleep quality, not the number of hours quality. One night of deep sleep can improve testosterone production measurably, because most testosterone is produced while you sleep, especially during early-phase deep sleep. But here's the problem: many people are sleeping, but they're not actually recovering. Their sleep is shallow, fragmented, and stressful. And when your brain stays in a light sleep state, your body doesn't enter the hormonal rebuilding stage. So improving sleep quality for just one night can genuinely create a shift in how your body produces testosterone the next day. And the best part, many sleep-improving habits take effect immediately, within the same 24 hours. And as we move forward, we're going to talk about something that ties all of this together. Because once you understand how stress, sleep, and internal environment control testosterone, the next step is learning the specific actions, foods, and lifestyle tweaks that actually set your testosterone into upward motion, without hype, without dangerous shortcuts, and without unrealistic expectations. This will help you create a real transformation starting from today. Now that you understand how quickly the internal environment can shift and start supporting testosterone production, let us go deeper into what actually creates that shift inside your body, because this is where most people get misled. They hear about miracle supplements, exotic herbs, secret gym protocols, or extreme diets that claim explosive testosterone boosts. But none of that works unless the foundation is right. And the foundation begins with restoring the body's ability to produce hormones naturally. So the next step is to focus on what I call the restoration window. The first 24 hours where your body switches from depletion to recovery, from high cortisol to hormonal balance, and from inflammation to repair. And one of the most powerful, fastest ways to trigger this restoration window is through targeted nutrient repletion. Your body cannot manufacture testosterone without certain building blocks. If even one is missing, the whole system slows down. Within 24 hours, nutrient restoration can dramatically change your hormone signals. especially when you've been deficient for a long time. And some nutrients work incredibly fast, so fast that many people feel the difference the next morning. This isn't magic, it's physiology. When you supply the raw materials your endocrine system needs, your internal machinery wakes up almost immediately. One of the most important nutrients is zinc. Testosterone production relies heavily on zinc because it is used in the enzymatic conversion of cholesterol into testosterone. And the crazy part is, many people are mildly deficient without knowing it. Stress burns through zinc. Sugar depletes zinc. Inflammation depletes zinc. Even something like sweating can drain zinc stores. So when people increase zinc-rich foods like eggs, seafood, grass-fed beef, or pumpkin seeds, the body often responds quickly. Within hours, enzyme activity increases. Hormone receptors become more responsive, and testosterone synthesis becomes more efficient. Not sky-high levels, but a measurable improvement in the environment necessary for hormone building. Next, magnesium plays a huge role. Magnesium helps regulate cortisol, blood sugar, sleep quality, and cellular energy production. Magnesium deficiency creates internal stress, even if you don't feel stressed mentally. When your body is deficient, it triggers a biochemical stress response, raising cortisol and lowering testosterone. But the moment you give your body magnesium through leafy greens, nuts, seeds, or even simply reducing the foods that deplete magnesium, your muscles relax. Your nervous system calms, blood sugar stabilizes, and your sleep deepens almost immediately. Many people, realize that a single night of improved sleep from magnesium-rich foods can kickstart testosterone production the very next morning. Another crucial building block is healthy fat, particularly cholesterol. Testosterone is made from cholesterol, but many diets push people toward extreme low-fat intake, which deprives the body of the material needed for hormone synthesis. When you restore healthy fats like eggs, butter, olive oil, avocados, or wild fatty fish, your endocrine system finally gets what it needs. And this shift doesn't take weeks. It begins right after digestion. The body senses the nutrient availability and adjusts hormonal signals almost instantly. Again, it's not about a miracle boost. It's about giving your system the raw materials it has been missing. But nutrients alone aren't enough. In the same 24-hour window, we need to reduce the things that block testosterone. And one of the biggest blockers is inflammation, especially hidden inflammation caused by poor digestion or reactive foods. When your body is inflamed, it prioritizes fighting that inflammation instead of producing hormones. Inflammation creates oxidative stress, which disrupts hormone receptors and even interferes with the cells in your testes responsible for testosterone production. The moment inflammation drops, your hormone system regains clarity and efficiency. This is why removing inflammatory foods like vegetable oils, fried foods, refined sugar, and processed snacks can make a noticeable difference overnight. When the digestive load lightens, when your liver isn't overwhelmed, when your insulin becomes stable, your body stops wasting energy on internal firefighting. Instead, it redirects energy toward recovery, hormone production, and muscle repair. This shift can be felt surprisingly fast: better mood, more mental clarity, and more natural drive. Another fast-acting factor is hydration combined with electrolytes. Dehydration increases cortisol and decreases testosterone. Even mild dehydration has been shown to drop testosterone significantly. But when you replenish water and electrolytes, especially potassium and sodium, your blood volume increases, nutrient transport improves, and hormonal signaling becomes more efficient. People underestimate how powerful this is. Something as simple as hydrating properly within 24 hours can dramatically shift stress hormones and support testosterone production. All of these rapid changes begin setting the stage for the next phase, which is activating your body's natural anabolic signals. This is where movement comes in, but not the type most people think. You don't need long, exhausting workouts. In fact, overtraining does the opposite. It raises cortisol and lowers testosterone. What actually works in a 24-hour window is short, intense, explosive movements that send a specific message to your endocrine system. We need to grow, we need to repair, we need testosterone. And in the next segment, we're going to break down the exact type of movement, timing, and strategy that can start shifting testosterone-producing pathways almost immediately. If you only have a few minutes, now that your body has the raw materials, reduced inflammation, stabilized blood sugar, and lowered stress hormones, the next 24-hour accelerator is activating the physical triggers your body needs to produce and release testosterone. And this is where most people go wrong. They think testosterone responds best to long workouts, heavy volume, or hours in the gym. But that actually pushes your body toward overtraining, elevates cortisol, and works against your hormonal goals. If your training is too long, too frequent, or too stressful, the body reads it as a threat. And when the body perceives threat, testosterone drops as a protective mechanism. So the key is understanding what kind of movement creates a hormonal demand without triggering stress. Your body raises testosterone for one main reason: adaptation. When it senses a specific type of challenge, short, powerful, explosive, high-intensity output, it interprets that challenge as a signal to grow, repair, and strengthen. This is why brief, intense workouts often outperform long, steady ones in terms of hormonal response. And the beautiful part is that this signal can be sent in just a few minutes. You don't need a full gym. You don't need complicated equipment. You just need the right type of stimulus. But before we talk about the actual movement, it's crucial to understand the hormonal window that exercise creates. After a short burst of high-intensity training, your body enters a recovery mode where testosterone rises to repair tissue, build muscle fibers, and restore balance. This window can last several hours, sometimes longer, depending on your nutrition, sleep, and stress response. When combined with the nutritional foundation we created earlier, this hormonal window becomes even more powerful. Your body is primed, nourished, and ready to respond. Let's talk about the type of training that supports this response. Movements that recruit large muscle groups demand rapid force production and require brief bursts of intensity create the strongest natural stimulus. This can include sprinting, explosive body weight movements, short resistance sessions, or simple power-based movements. The key is that you are not performing them for long. You are performing them with intention and intensity. For example, a 15-second sprint, followed by rest, repeated a few times, can create a more powerful testosterone signal than an hour of jogging. A short session of heavy lifts, just a few sets, can outperform a high-volume routine. Even a fast-paced, explosive bodyweight series can activate these pathways. And if you don't have equipment, you can still create the signal using your own body weight. Squats, push-ups, jump-based movements, or brief isometric holds all stimulate the nervous system in a way that raises anabolic signals. These movements trigger neural activation, which then triggers hormonal responses. The nervous system is the switch, and the hormones follow. This is why intensity matters far more than duration. You are telling your body, we need strength, we need power, we need recovery. And the body responds by elevating the hormones that support these outcomes. However, another crucial piece of this strategy is recovery between sets. Most people push too hard without allowing the nervous system time to reset. When you rest properly between short bursts of intensity, your body stays in an anabolic zone. If you remove rest, it shifts toward stress. And once stress hormones rise, testosterone drops. So proper timing, short exertion, rest, repeat is essential. This creates the perfect hormonal environment for a natural testosterone rise. But even more important than the workout itself is what happens right after. That immediate post-exercise period is where your body is most sensitive to recovery signals. If you combine that window with proper hydration, nutrient intake, deep breathing, or even sunlight exposure, the effect becomes stronger. Sunlight plays a role here because it supports circadian rhythm, vitamin D activation, and the reduction of melatonin during the day, helping testosterone cycle correctly. Even 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight can shift your hormonal profile, especially if you have been deficient in natural light. Another overlooked factor is proper breathing. After a short, intense session, some people stay in shallow, stressed breathing patterns without realizing it. This keeps cortisol elevated and suppresses the hormonal benefits of the workout. But if you slow your breathing, extend your exhales, and allow your body to calm, your nervous system switches back into recovery mode. This immediately enhances testosterone's repair functions. It's one of the fastest ways to keep your body anabolic after training. And now that your body has experienced a physical signal to produce testosterone, the next phase is creating the hormonal consistency that allows levels to rise naturally and steadily. Because a single workout is not enough. What you do throughout the rest of the day matters just as much. Small but powerful habits, sleep timing, meal timing, stress reduction, evening lighting, and circadian alignment play a massive role in testosterone regulation. You can activate your hormonal switches through training, but you support them through lifestyle patterns. And in the next segment, we're going to go deep into that final phase, how to maintain and extend the testosterone boosting effects throughout the rest of the day and into the night. This is where the true 24-hour shift happens, not just through exercise or nutrients, but through the entire rhythm of your day. Because if you understand how to support your hormones around the clock, you can create a natural environment where testosterone remains strong, stable, and consistently rising. At this point, your body has received three powerful signals: the nutritional shift, the reduction of internal stress, and the short, intense movement that activates your anabolic pathways. But the final and perhaps most underestimated piece of the 24-hour testosterone shift is what happens in the remaining hours of your day, especially the evening and nighttime period. This is the phase people rarely think about, yet it is the phase that determines whether your body locks in the hormonal advantages you created or cancels them out. Testosterone is not something your body builds constantly at the same rate. It follows a rhythm, a daily hormonal arc that peaks in the early morning and dips at night. But the quality of that peak depends entirely on the night before. If your body enters deep, uninterrupted sleep, growth hormone rises, cortisol drops, and the machinery responsible for testosterone production becomes highly active. But if your sleep is disrupted, shallow, or delayed, it blocks this entire cycle. And the next morning, regardless of how perfectly you ate or how hard you trained, your testosterone levels will not reflect any of the work you did. That's why the final phase of this 24-hour strategy is about preparing your body for a night of hormonal recovery. And ironically, the process doesn't begin at night, it begins late afternoon. The way you transition from daylight to nighttime determines how well your hormonal rhythm functions. As the sun goes down, your cortisol is supposed to drop, your melatonin is supposed to rise, and your body should naturally shift toward deep rest. But modern habits disrupt this process. Artificial lights, late eating, screen exposure, mental stimulation, and constant notifications push your body into a stressed, wired, alert state. And that alone can suppress testosterone. So the first thing you need to do in this final phase is manage your evening light exposure. Your eyes are directly connected to the part of your brain that controls hormone timing. When your eyes receive bright, artificial light late at night, your brain gets confused. It thinks it's still daytime. Cortisol stays elevated, melatonin stays suppressed, and testosterone synthesis gets delayed. But when you lower your light exposure by dimming your environment, limiting screens, or shifting to warm lighting, your brain receives the message that the day is ending. And this message alone can dramatically improve your hormonal cycle by the time morning arrives. Next comes meal timing. Eating late at night is one of the fastest ways to raise cortisol and insulin at the wrong time. Digestion is a stressful process for your body, especially if the meal is heavy, oily, or high in carbs. When you eat late, your body focuses on digestion instead of repair. And since testosterone is produced during the first half of your sleep cycle, eating too close to bedtime interferes with this delicate balance. When you keep your last meal earlier, even by just 1 hour, you create a cleaner, calmer, internal environment that supports hormonal rebuilding. Another powerful factor is mental decompression. Many people go to bed with their minds racing, thinking about work, stress, conversations, or social media interactions. This mental stimulation keeps the nervous system in a high alert state. Even if you manage to fall asleep, the sleep is not restorative. The brain cycles through shallow stages and never drops into deep phase long enough to support testosterone production. But when you take a few minutes to unwind through stretching, deep breathing, journaling, or simply limiting stimulation, you shift your body into the calm, parasympathetic state required for hormone rebuilding. And now we come to the core of the nighttime strategy: deep high-quality sleep. Testosterone is synthesized mainly during the first 3 hours of sleep. This is when your brain enters its deepest phases, your body releases growth hormone, your stress hormones drop to their lowest, and your tissues begin repairing. If this window is disrupted through blue light, late eating, stress, caffeine, or even a cluttered sleep environment, your testosterone cycle is disrupted with it. But when you optimize these factors, your body produces hormones more efficiently, more consistently, and more abundantly. Simple changes can make a huge difference: keeping the room cooler, darkening the environment, reducing noise, and creating a consistent sleep schedule. The moment your brain feels safe and undisturbed, it goes deeper. And when it goes deeper, testosterone production follows. The final part of this cycle happens the moment you wake up. What you do in the first 10 minutes of your morning has a direct influence on your hormonal peak. When you expose yourself to natural light shortly after waking, your brain synchronizes your circadian rhythm and reinforces the hormonal arc you created overnight. That natural morning light tells your body, this is the start of the day, helping regulate testosterone, cortisol, and melatonin for the next 24 hours. And this completes the full loop: the nutrition shift, the stress reduction, the explosive movement, the evening wind-down, and the deep nighttime recovery. These work together to create a realistic and powerful rise in natural testosterone. Not a magical overnight spike, but a genuine physiological improvement that begins within hours and builds stronger over time.